Through my reflections, we have looked at the importance of lesson planning and the benefit it provides our teachers and their pupils. We've looked at motivation, the influencers of it, and the interventions we as teachers can apply to positively affect this. If I can quickly bring us back to my previous reflection on motivation, the main points that can be discussed within 30 seconds or so are the following. Pupil motivation will struggle when pupils' self-perceived competence is low. Pupils' self-perceived competence is low when pupils feel a consistent lack of success. Differentiation gives these pupils a chance to succeed at their own level, and when these pupils find that success, their motivation increases. Due to this conclusion, I have decided to continue on this strand and reflect upon differentiation within my own practice. So why and how do we differentiate? Gallagher and Donnelly argue that for physical education to genuinely benefit all pupils, we as teachers must understand that all pupils have a different biological makeup, environmental circumstances, and an ability to learn, making up a complex puzzle that can block the child from learning. It is especially difficult for us teachers if we try to put those pieces of the different puzzles together with the same lesson. Therefore, we as teachers must devise processes and strategies to ensure all learners have an opportunity to succeed within their own potential. This is where many teachers base their justification for differentiation, be it in fewer or more words. Warbleye supports this view in its discussion on differentiation, which I had first noticed within my last reflection. Their view on how education should be based on what the student is capable of learning, rather than what the teacher is presenting, rings true with Gallagher and Donnelly's concept of treating all learners as individuals. Warbleye states that differentiation should be applied to any student who struggles at some time within their learning. So how do we as teachers differentiate? Well, there are numerous strategies and interventions documented within the literature. Even more are applied and shared in an informal or subconscious subtext. Although in shorthand, WIP explains that teachers differentiating tailor content, processes, support, and product based on their students' readiness and interest to learn. Within my research, I came across a differentiation policy for physical education from Chalfonts Community College in Buckinghamshire. I was very impressed and encouraged that there had been a specific consideration for tailoring PE to all pupils, with lots of details including how they plan lessons, what groups they use and when they would put pupils into groups, what teaching styles they will employ for certain pupils, and the use of resources for their pupils, and even stretch strategies for more able pupils, including the introduction of extracurricular work and developing the curriculum for them. So before I was able to take this information and assess its relevance to me, I was guided to observe the timeline model of reflection presented by Friese. I personally feel this style of reflection is appropriate for evaluating one's practices in differentiation, as it forces you to consider your own journey through teaching and evaluate your progression through your own practice. It also makes you actively consider just how you intend on improving your practice. Before I started this course, I've been consistently involved with teaching and coaching in some capacity. My previous assumption, which if you remember from Brookfield is the exact thing we're trying to correct, was that I was applying differentiation within my sessions or lessons quite well. What I have learned since beginning this course, however, is my differentiation was often one size fits all. Whether this be decreasing players from a team, breaking the skill to minor parts for extra assistance, I was adjusting the exercise to assist or challenge pupils within the lesson I wanted to teach, but I wasn't teaching the pupil as an individual learner, as Gallagher and Donnelly explained as necessary, and therefore not always allowing the pupil to succeed within their own learning. Through tutor-led discussions, university lectures, CPD in school, and self-experimentation, I have progressed in my understanding of differentiation both practically and theoretically. I've attempted different modes and practices of differentiation and feel that my practice is creating a richer learning experience for all pupils. After reflecting upon my past assumptions and assessing my progress, it is important for me to note where that progress has put me. As stated in my last reflection, I feel my application of differentiation was inconsistent. It was either leaning towards the strong ability pupils, causing the low ability pupils to struggle and lose motivation and therefore engagement, or it was aimed towards the low ability pupils, causing the stronger pupils to lose interest, become bored, and lose engagement that way. Sometimes there wasn't any evidence of differentiation at all, and rarely there were instances where differentiation was evident well at both levels. I do feel, since my previous reflection, that my differentiation is significantly improved in both quality and volume, although there is still much to develop to consistently differentiate to the standard that I would want. I feel that my experience built up so far with the pupils who I'm teaching has given me a greater understanding of who they are as learners and how I need to facilitate their learning from differentiation. This, coupled with the theoretical understanding that I've developed from university lectures and peer discussions and research, as well as feedback that I've been given from lessons from my school mentor and other teachers, has helped me progress in this area. This has allowed me to lead what I feel has been my most successful lesson applying differentiation yet. After feedback on a difficult lesson, I made a point of planning a lesson based around the individual pupils as opposed to the lesson I wanted to teach. I considered which pupils were going to be assisted and how I was planning to assist them, as well as which pupils needed stretched and how I was going to stretch and challenge them. This led to a smooth, engaging, enjoyable lesson where individuals showed clear progress from where they began and all had an understanding of the topic relevant to their ability. From experiencing this lesson, I would be inclined to agree with Gallagher, Donnelly and Wormley about the importance and benefit of gauging your teaching to the individual, as opposed to planning a lesson and then adjusting it to meet your pupil's requirements. This next slide contains a graph showing my progress in differentiation. The graph and data are not literal, but are more to give a visual understanding of the reflections, conclusions, and intentions that I have made and the progress that I hope to make. If we take the data as percentages, 100% meaning that I fully understand the complexities of differentiation and therefore aware of all of my students' learning needs and effectively apply differentiation to all of my lessons, I sat myself pre-course at the low level of 10%. Pre-course, I feel I sat at the tip of the iceberg of differentiation, unaware of the vast amount of content hidden underneath the surface to be unearthed. Due to my experiences within my school, feedback and guidance from both tutors and mentors and other teachers, and experiences that I've had myself and shared with peers, I feel that mark has increased up towards 25%. And my hope is that as the year progresses, my practice develops to the point that at least half of all my classes are experiencing a strong practice in differentiation. I've only placed that half as I understand how complex and tasking differentiation can be to achieve within a PE context. Partially based on experience, this view is also based, however, on reading. Wipp found that teachers with 5 to 15 years of experience struggle to effectively differentiate all of their lessons. This manifested the belief in me that if I anticipated that before even my first year of teaching, I would be showing strong practice in differentiation in over half of my lessons, I would simply be showing ignorance and a lack of understanding of the complexity of pedagogy and destined to fail my learners. You will note that I haven't placed my progress at 100% for any stage. This is due to my belief that as educators we must never feel like we have finished growing or improving within our craft, as there is always progress to be made. As Ellis et al. Points out, an exemplary teacher is not only an expert in their subject, but also capable of delivering that subject in a manner that allows all pupils to progress. That is why I intend to continue learning about differentiation at a theoretical level from literature and tutors, an experiential level from my own reflections and peer discussion, as well as colleague feedback and career-based learning opportunities. On this slide, you can see what my key aims are in developing my differentiation for the next phase of my PGCE practice. The main part I want to develop is my SEND differentiation, so understanding how I can adjust lessons for pupils not only with learning difficulties, but physical difficulties as well, as to this point I have not had much experience. I want to develop my ability to combine stretch and challenge differentiation with lift and progressing lower ability pupils to make sure that everyone develops as much as they can through every single lesson. What I intend to do to develop my differentiation is to continue pre-planning differentiation within lesson plans, but then also trying to plan within my scheme of work where I would need to differentiate to give me a greater idea of how I would deliver my lessons, and as well to continue to hone my practice and differentiation. I will continue requesting feedback from lessons, attending CPD courses, and and observing different literature to give me as much of a theoretical knowledge as possible in the subject, and also professional observation of good practice and differentiation to continue my own progression.